So, the third, we talked about three important things in the fall of 2021. The Columbian Exchange, which is ongoing. The influence of the mutual influence of the old and new worlds upon one another since Columbus brought the hemispheres together. And we just talked briefly about the American Revolution, and the last big thing we talked about was the U.S. Constitution, drafted here in Philadelphia by the framers. The coming out of the American Revolution, during the American Revolution, the United States had a weak government under the Articles of Confederation, barely able to win the Revolutionary War, and after the war, really incompetent. Can't pay off the national debt. Can't even manage the national debt. Can't foster a complete economic recovery from the war. Can't keep order inside the United States. So thorough failure, replaced with the U.S. Constitution by a more effective government. This plan is then pitched to the people in the ratification debates, and the American people, through their delegates at ratification conventions, adopt this new, stronger, more balanced government. The American people demand the addition of a Bill of Rights, and James Madison, who was one of the framers, is now a member of Congress, and he assembles the Bill of Rights and gets Congress to pass them, sends them out to the states, and the states approve them. So the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution are added. They include freedom of religion, separation of church and state, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, right to bear arms, all kinds of protections for accused criminals. In the Fourth and Fifth and Sixth Amendments, right to a jury trial. And yet, we should understand the Constitution as continuing beyond the Constitutional Convention, and not just developing through, amendments every now and then. Because the Constitution, while clear about the powers of the president and clear about the powers of Congress, the Constitution was really unclear about the powers of federal courts. And clarity is achieved through precedent, through judicial rulings, through Supreme Court decisions. The Marbury versus Madison case made by midnight Chief Justice John Marshall clarifies this. It's a power grab by the federal courts. The federal courts claim for themselves the right to judicial review, the ability to sort of check the work of Congress and the president, to analyze laws that have been made by Congress, and to cancel laws in part or in whole if they conflict with the U.S. Constitution. Judicial review can also check out state laws that the Supreme Court finds conflicting with the Constitution. And this was controversial at first, but we're going to see over time that judicial review remains controversial, but we're going to see that the Supreme Court keeps exercising its power of judicial review. Sometimes they get their way, as in Marbury versus Madison. Sometimes they don't get their way. We saw before Christmas, President Andrew Jackson ignore Chief Justice Marshall's ruling in the Worcester versus Georgia case and follow through with Indian removal anyway. But a little later in American history, we're going to see judicial review become something that both Democrats and Republicans, both political parties, substantially agree with. There'll be a consensus that the judicial branch is, as Marshall wanted it to be, a third co-equal branch of government with the president and the Congress. Anyway, more on that later. Bye.